Richie B, the party master, on Up and Go.
Good morning. It is Wednesday, the 5th of January, 2022. My name is Richie B. My team is in the building with me, and we're going to take care of you until 11 o'clock this morning. We call it Up and Go. And if you're looking for this recent Grammy nominee, there's one place to find him this morning, and that is right here in the studios of Bridge 99 FM. Let them know where they can find you, Gramps Morgan, right here, sir. It's time for us to get inside of what we call WTF, which also means what the fact. And here's an interesting one for you this morning. It has to do with a U.S. park ranger who we understand got hit by lightning not once, not twice, not 3 times. More than that. Not 4 times. More than that. Not 5 times nor 6 times, but 7 times during his lifetime. What a lucky fellow. Yeah. The name is Roy Cleveland Sullivan. He was a park ranger at the Shenandoah National Park in Virginia. And between the years 1942 and 1977, Roy Cleveland Sullivan was struck by lightning on 7 different occasions. That earned him an entry in the Guinness Book of World Records and the nickname Human Lightning Rod. He survived all of them and went on to live to the ripe age of 71 years old before he passed. That is a God bless youth. He's a lucky fellow. Some people maybe would call him a lucky guy. And I don't know, maybe he was just simply born under a lucky star. Yeah, 7 times. I know many people who haven't survived even 1 hit by lightning. Many people have not survived that. Yeah, and he survived 7. That is the kind of information that we share with you in WTF at 7:25 every weekday morning. What the fact? Would you believe it? Somebody saw Jason Derulo at the nightclub and called him by the name of another musician. Maybe just simply mistook him for another artist. So they went, "Hey, Usher!" Jason was called Usher and was quite upset about. Does he have beef with Usher? I can't recall hearing about that. Why would he be so upset if somebody mistook him for Usher? And he got into a fit and a rage, and it is now being said by the police out of Las Vegas that he committed battery against these 2 individuals. Oh my goodness, he's quite a dancer and he was a TikTok star, but right now he was arrested. No, he was not arrested, but his name is out there for this fight that he got into sometime after 2 o'clock in the morning at the Aria Resort, and fortunately no one suffered any injury, but all because someone swore at him and called him Usher. He took great offense to that. And he got into a fight near an escalator. As I said, no one is pressing charges. But it's a moment of shame, I suspect, for Jason Derulo. There has been footage that has also emerged online, and it's not a good look for him at all. And I guess he wasn't thinking of trumpets at the time, was he? Time now for the proverb of the day. And first of all, we'll play the proverb, allow you to listen to it, and then we'll give you the translation followed by the explanation for this Jamaican proverb. Are you ready? Let's do it.
No wait till drum beat before you grind your axe.
Sorry, let me hear that again.
No wait till drum beat before you grind your axe.
No wait till drum beat before you grind your axe. How you like the construct of that? All right, that Jamaican proverb actually is translated to mean, don't wait until the drum beats before you grind your axe. Okay, so that is always the easy part. Now for the explanation. How many of my listeners out there actually know what that actually means? Huh? Now wait till drum beat before you grind your axe. The explanation? Be prepared for all eventualities. That is what that is talking about. That's the explanation for that Jamaican proverb. Now wait till drum beat before you grind your axe. It means you must be prepared for all eventualities. So we want to be focusing on this in this block on the life and times and works of the late Dr. Glenda Simms, who passed away in Ottawa, Canada, on Friday, the 31st of December. We understand after a long period of illness. She indeed was a women's rights activist, the former executive director of the Bureau of Women's Affairs, and she was in fact the first woman of color to serve as president and chief executive officer of the Canadian Advisory Council on the Status of Women between 1990 and 1995. She returned to Jamaica, and of course, as we mentioned earlier, she headed the Bureau of Women's Affairs, and she was involved in some really, really wonderful stuff, especially as women's rights, as far as women's rights are concerned. This morning, joining us at this time, we have the Marketing and Communications Director at Edna Manley College of the Visual and Performing Arts, my good friend Coleen Douglas. Good morning, Coleen. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too, Richie. It's been a while.
It's been a while. How have you been?
I've been good. Well, it's a fair to find with a few scattered showers.
Yes. I like that. Coleen, it's really nice to have you, and especially as we focus on the works of this great Jamaican Dr. Glenda Simms. Talk to us a little bit about the Bureau of Women's Affairs and a little also about the life and legacy of this great lady.
Well, I can talk to you. I worked at Bureau of Women's Affairs in 2002 to about 2005. Perhaps a little bit after 2005, which would be a little bit after Dr. Simms left. When Dr. Simms left, or when her contract was not renewed, we lost the champion of women's rights in Jamaica. And sometimes we have to not make our politics determine what we do in government and use people who will serve us best. Because I really think it was her fearlessness, her unabashed. She had an ability to just say how she felt without any kind of fear. And I think that doesn't always go down well. So I think the only reason she was no longer at Women's Affairs after 2005 is because of that quality. You know, where we decide that a personality is not what we like, because she may offend you. But she was a champion. She was a champion for women's rights. I learned a lot about women's affairs when I met Glenda. Actually, we used to walk. We were walking partners because we were neighbors at University Crescent for a couple of years. And into a couple of months of my living there, she was right beside me. We would go walking in Mona. And one morning she says, "You speak very well, Coleen. I want a PR officer who can write." So I thought at the time I suited the bill. So I went to Women's Affairs, did the interview, and I started working there shortly after with her as my boss. At the time, it was Bureau of Women's Affairs. We in as much as we had the gender conversation, it was very focused on equality for women, equity. And so a lot of the focus was on women's rights. We did a lot of work in rural communities. Glenda is from Malvern, St. Elizabeth, as most people would know by now. And her passion was about rural women. And it is that we sometimes ignore rural women. Rural women are poorer. We have a lot of single parent headed household. We have a lot of women who are in abusive relationships, but because they're not able to sustain themselves financially, they stay in it. And Dr. Simms was very conscious of that. So a lot of the projects at the time while I was at Bureau was centered around empowering rural women. So it was the economic empowerment of rural women for them to be so independent that they do not have to stay in abusive relationships.
She obviously had a very major impact as far as women's rights in Jamaica is concerned. Having worked so closely with her, Coleen, what would you say are some of the lessons that you can take from Dr. Simms when it comes to fighting for gender rights?
It's a love of people. It's a love of people. It's a deep understanding of what it means to be a woman and what it means to be a Black woman. And I think Dr. Simms, coming from, I remember she told me this story about when she was at Hampton High School and how they had to wear stockings, and the way the stocking had to be a particular mark in the center of your leg at the back.
Okay.
And she used marker to draw hers so that it doesn't matter how wrong it was.
Okay.
But the fact, it's an understanding. Dr. Simms believed in research. She believed in reporting. So one of the things I've learned is that you do not speak without data. You do not speak loosely about anything, but you collect your data and allow that data to inform your decisions. So that's one of the things that I think is important when we look at women's rights. We can't just go out there and loosely say that women must be paid. We need to show the evidence that in as much as women are doing the same work as the man, that we sometimes are paid significantly less. You know, I've been actively involved in entertainment, and it's one of the sore notes in entertainment about the equality for work for women and men. So I've learned that. I've also learned that you can break that proverbial glass ceiling. I've also learned that women must support women. One of the things that Dr. Simms taught me was that it was more than she was more than a boss. She was my mother. She could tell you when I wasn't okay, and she would comfortably call and say, "Child, come here." I've always not dressed or leaned towards the traditional Euro-American workwear and was heavily criticized for it. And I remember one day she said to me, "Turn around and look in the mirror, child." And I looked in the mirror and I saw somebody lovely looking back at me. And she reminded me that if you look in that mirror and what you see in that mirror looks good, then you look good. And nobody need to tell. She had an expression I can't use on radio. But
yes.
yeah, but she would basically tell you to stand in your power as a Black woman. Stand in your power. I remember loving a Caroline Cooper, loving a Glenda Simms, and the fact of how they celebrated the Black face with that bald head. So for years I wore a bald head, understanding that the bald head was paying an unnecessary attention to the face, but celebrating that I dare you to say something to me about this bald head and the power that it gives me. So I've learned that. I've learned that it is my job to protect a young woman. It is my job to understand a young woman. And it's unfortunate, Richie, but we have a lot of older women in all sorts of fields now who they somehow have gotten the brunt of society's ills, that they've become bitter, so bitter to the point where they don't lift up younger women. And so a lesson from Glenda Simms is lifting people up, lifting women up. When I listened to Keznande's Champion, I thought of her. She was a champion for, I say she was fair, because if you're wrong, she's going to tell you were wrong. So she was very fair. But she was, what I loved most was her fearlessness. She was extremely bold. There was nothing that she wanted to say that she wouldn't say, regardless of the consequence.
Truly a great woman, and you see it coming through in what you're saying here this morning, and also several tributes that we have seen since her passing, and these are tributes from here in Jamaica as well as from North America
and across the world. And Richie, one of the things that I loved about Dr. Simms went to Africa. I can't remember which country she went to specifically, but when she came back, she said every woman must have a shamba. And her shamba was her own herb garden, her garden planting at home, and ensuring that you are able to feed yourself and feed your family and perhaps a neighbor. So after a while, Dr. Simms started selling herbs, and you could go in Sovereign Supermarket or any of those supermarkets and pick up herbs from Glenda's shamba. That's also another thing that she taught me about being self-sufficient.
Self-sufficiency, yeah.
And you know, just making sure that you're also eating well and living your best life.
on the Jamaican front, do you believe that we still have a long way to go regarding women's rights and development in Jamaica, Coleen?
I think we've come a long way. I think significant work has been done as it relates to gender. We recently had the sexual harassment bill being passed in Jamaica, which took years to come. We've had national policy on gender. So we've done a lot of work. I think Jamaica has been signatory to a lot of those kinds of focus of the UN. But yeah, we do. We are in 2021, we learned a lot about domestic violence and women losing their lives to domestic violence. We still have girls being raped. We still have little girls being sold by their parents. We still have women working hard in workplaces and not necessarily getting the financial benefit that the man gets. We see women being at the head of a lot of organizations in Jamaica, but the truth is the boards are still heavily male-led. So there is tremendous work to do. It's like the struggle continues, I should say, until our young girls can walk around and feel safe among our men, until the man can see the 15-year-old as his daughter or his niece and not try to abuse her, then we have a long way to go. Until I can say to my 20-year-old in 2 weeks that she can take a taxi and feel safe, then we still are behind. So Jamaica has a long way to go.
Yeah. The struggle continues. We thank, of course, Dr. Glenda Simms for the contributions she made. Several laws were reviewed to aid women and girls, help them to overcome barriers to their own development, and we thank her for the works that she did. We also want to join you in expressing our condolences to the members of her family and all those who mourn her passing. And we really want to thank you also this morning for coming on and helping us in this tribute to the late Dr. Glenda Simms. Thank you, Coleen, and you have a wonderful day and a great year, 2022.
Give thanks, Richie. Thank you. Thanks for the moment.
Much love. Coleen Douglas is Marketing and Communications Director at Edna Manley College of the Visual and Performing Arts. Do you know that GM has been dethroned as the leading vehicle sales company in the United States of America? And Toyota has emerged as the new champion. Yeah, that's the latest coming out of the United States. Japan's Toyota dethroned GM as the #1 automaker in the U.S. for 2021. And this marks the first time on record that a foreign car manufacturer has topped the list. So they have a lot to celebrate. The issue of the chip that they need for the vehicles is what has been causing the problem. We understand that it's not about a lack of demand for vehicles, but limited production capacity is primarily to blame for the bottleneck situation that they've been experiencing. And as it turned out, the nasty chip shortage that has been affecting the auto industry took a toll on GM to a certain extent, because it seems like Toyota had stockpiled a greater amount of these chips and were able to keep the production wheels of production turning. So that's a big one for Toyota. Good morning, Gramps. Welcome, sir.
Good morning, Richie B. Good morning. Wow. I mean, I haven't been in a
setting like this,
a studio, like a radio station studio, for almost 2 years, man. So yeah. I'm happy. I'm celebrating with Batman and Robin back together again.
I like that. And to think of it, you're also a radio presenter yourself.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Many people that might not even know. You want to give them some info on that?
Well, I've been doing radio in 2009 when I started upon my first solo project, Two Sides of My Heart, Volume 1, which had the big song on that album was Wash the Tears.
Yes.
At that time, a friend of mine named Rico Vibes heard my voice and said, man, Gramps, you have a radio voice. And I'm like, oh, what are you talking about? And at the time I brought the idea. So I had a radio show in Atlanta called on the flavorradio.com. And then at the time, me and Buju was supposed to have a radio show on that radio station.
Really?
Yes. And then
it didn't happen?
It didn't happen. I went on the station and of course, Buju went on a vacation.
Unfortunately, yes.
You know. And so during that time, I kept on growing, and then the show got syndicated. So I love radio and end up respecting people like you, because a lot of times artists, we don't see it from the DJ side or the radio presenter. We only see, play my song.
Yeah.
But no, when you see an email filled with 200 new songs, and then you have to filter through it.
Yeah.
Some songs are good, some things not mix good, some things not master good. It's a serious weight to carry.
It is. And I'm happy that you're saying it the way you have. And we try to sift through and to find the best of the lot. Sometimes people end up disappointed.
Yes.
But then we just have to do what we have to do. It's been a great journey for you. Last year was, to me, a very successful year for you, Gramps, culminating with your Grammy nomination for the album Positive Vibration that came toward the end of the year. How did you see last year for you, even amidst the pandemic?
It really gave me a time to reflect, Richie, as a man, in this time and in this pandemic. If we don't really, as a man, if this pandemic, when it is over, we haven't grown, something wrong with you. So we have been given this time to reflect. I started studying things like cryptocurrency, the stock market. I ended up making an album called Positive Vibration and I say to people that making this album, of course, I've worked with many producers over the years, but this, Richie, is my best album when it comes to the quality of the production and the production process. Of course, I think Down by the River and She Still Love Me, those songs are mega songs. Yeah. These songs still have to prove themselves in time. But when you talk about the recording process, it was the difference between recording on a $1,500 microphone and recording on a $28,000 microphone, right? And it's because the access that I had in Nashville to my partner, Johnny Reed, who
also wrote and recorded this song that we just played, right?
That's correct. And it's just me and this man meet at a hockey game in Nashville, and I mean, here's this Jamaican Rastaman and then this Scottish amazing songwriter, and he owned the studio called Soul Train, and he just said, come by the studio. And it was like finding a brother from Scotland. And the chemistry between us was just phenomenal. Like the way him think and him think about a line, like when you listen to Woman Like You, I wanted to show that emotional side of a man and that appreciation for a woman, because we know we love the woman in the bedroom, but can we express ourselves? Right? So this is that song just to help one and two of my brethren them for that say, yo, so listen where Gramps I say, man.
No, we thank you. We honestly thank you. And I'm speaking on behalf of many brothers all over the world over. You have found between yourselves a very unique way to marry reggae and country.
Yes,
and it seems to have worked phenomenally well.
Yes, man. I think it's groundbreaking. I'm sure somebody is going to see it as an amazing sound, and eventually you'll start to hear songs like that. I'm sure of it. But
I was touting you to be one of the nominees at the Country Music Awards.
It's quite possible. They actually invited me to come there, but I had to do some traveling. But the way it was blended is like, when I told the producer, Johnny Reed, I said, yo, I need this instrument on there and this instrument, and then I need to send the bass line to the bass line. I feel right, because the bass line sit down. So the album was recorded between Kingston, Jamaica, Nashville, and Toronto, Canada.
Okay.
So it's a blend of, it's like a masterminded kind of thing, But the time was given, and then I would call, Mark that plays in Shaggy Band, and the guitar player from Stephen Marley Band, and then who else? The bass player from Morgan Heritage, Keno Newby. So it was different musicians that when I heard the bass line, like the bass line on Woman Like You, it was very poppy. It was like, and I was like, no, it have to sit down. So he was telling me, he said, Gramps, just do what you're doing. I trust you. I understand. So
how proud is he of this project?
Oh, my God. I'll tell you, when we got the nomination, Richie, the two of us was crying. Because let's be frank here, this is a gamble, right? That but I always heard it. You heard it when your grandmother was in the countryside playing Kenny Rogers and Charlie Pride and Dolly Parton and all these
Jim Reeves.
great songs. Even if you go to a dance today, you find that a early juggling a Stone Love, you're going to hear a Kenny Rogers tune.
certainly.
And in many inner city sound systems, country music is part of our culture. And I call it the rice and peas day when you cut up your scallion and you grate your coconut. It was country music was the soundtrack.
You might not even know that my very first taste of radio, I was given a 1 o'clock to 5 o'clock shift, and I was presenting country and Western music.
You got to be
I
kidding.
named the program the Pre-Dawn Country Turn On.
Whoa!
So I know the power of country music, and
Oh, yeah.
there's a certain bond between those listeners, man. That is, it's kind of different because
it's
they're
special.
very, very together. They're very special,
Yes.
and they look out for each other. These songs are really great songs. You know, and congratulations again on your nomination. You have tasted Grammy victory already in the year 2016 with Strictly Roots with Morgan Heritage.
Yes.
How would you say that winning a Grammy Award impacts one's career from your own perspective?
That's a great question, Richie. I think the profile of the act or the artist or the producer raises, but I believe that when you receive that accolade, there's now more pressure to perform and to say, okay, this is why I got nominated. So I think it's actually, it can hurt you, actually. So there, you get the accolade, but you have the pressure to prove what's next, right? And a lot of times artists kind of get comfortable or don't know what to do because of lack of management. Management is not in place or the experience. And when even Morgan Heritage won our first Grammy, it was like, yo, back to work. And hence the following year we got nominated again, you know? And people are like, wait a minute. But we found out that the growth up to Strictly Roots, we had become at the peak of our career, because remember when I went to my first solo album, I started a tour with Buju and India Arie and John Legend and Diddy. I opened up my mind, the growth, and then I brought that growth back to Morgan Heritage and say, yo, we need to do this and check out this and check out the lighting and the show, and we need to get this for to run the business. You raise your level of you conduct business. And this is what the greatness and the future of Jamaican music is bright, because once management begin to start to be normalized, because you're hard to find a good manager, because the manager, the producer, he might mix the record, and he might the tour manager. These things need to stop. We need to say, okay, this is the publicist, report to the publicist, and the artists need to let the publicist book the interviews, and that's the organization that we're missing. And I'm excited to see that portion of the business come into play.
Yeah, you mentioned the group a few times. How are the members of the group doing? Morgan Heritage? Everybody's good.
Great. Yeah, Mojo's a little under the weather. Big up my brother Mojo. He's a little under the weather today, but he's doing good. And I want to tell you, everybody's really enjoying their children, because when Don't Have to Dread to Be Rasta took off, we haven't gotten any sleep, Richie. You know, it's tour after tour after tour. So this really give you a chance to sit back,
enjoy family.
Yeah, go have an ice cream with your daughter, right? The simple things. And that's what, for me, in this time, we've learned to live with less and realize that we don't need all these things that we thought we need. And I tell people that sometimes if you sit back and be still and focus, you're going to realize that you've been stressing yourself out to impress people that hate you, you know? And when you be still and realize that, you're going to say, hung a sign on my door that says, worry don't live here no more, which is one of the lines from the song, If You're Looking for Me. So that's really like my anthem to where I am in my life now, where I'm going to go have an ice cream. I mean, I'll go down to Port Royal and have a good fish. I mean, I'm going to enjoy life. And that's what I wanted this album to really do, because we're all going through it. When People Like You was released, Richie, it was a song of appreciation, devotion, and dedication for people that are providing our toilet paper in the supermarket, people that are flying on the airlines that are still putting their lives at risk. So it was to really appreciate them. And the death of my uncle David Morgan and then Bobby Digital, the morning I went to record that song, mashed me up. And
The morning when you were recording?
The morning,
Wow.
I got the news. I mean, and I didn't know, I didn't want to go to the studio, and Johnny Reed said, just come by, mate, just come by. And I went by and recorded that song in one take, man.
Wow.
And if you listen to the emotions of the song, you'll hear a lot of pain.
Yeah, People Like You.
Yeah, man, you hear the pain in the song.
Yeah, wow. Rest in peace to all those brothers you mentioned.
Yes.
But in addition to music, you have extended your reach into other areas outside of broadcasting as well. We understand you have some CDBs.
Yes.
That's cannabidiol
Yes,
oils.
cannabinoids.
Cannabinoid, yes. Tell us a little bit more about that, Gramps.
Well, the short version is like I said, we've been given the time to really enjoy family and friends and, the normalcy. And my wife is a scientist. And one of my sons was born having uncontrollable seizures and over 200 seizures a day. Now, people don't even know the story. This is the first time I'm telling, this is an exclusive, by the way, right here on the Richie B show on the Bridge, 99 FM. This is the first time I'm telling this story.
Let's hear it.
And he was having over 200 seizures a day and end up moving 38% of his brain had to be removed. This was in 2016, right before the Grammys. See?
Wow.
Nobody don't know this.
We don't know.
Right?
That.
So when you see people just disappear, you don't know what people are going through. So here I am giving you the exclusive.
Yeah, we appreciate that.
And my wife she's being a scientist, a cell and developmental biologist. She was able to say, she said, Gramps, I'm going to make something for him. And I said, what do you mean y'all make something for him? She said, I'm going to make something from cannabis. So me first I don't smoke weed, right? I don't drink alcohol. I just know idea, I just start saying, I can celebrate life and take a sip of rum and I just idea.
Yeah.
And it got to a point where we just said, okay, try it. He was on over 7 different medications. Phenobarbital, Venpat, all these different medications, but he was starting to be like, he looked like a Buddha. So his movement, now the upper occipital lobe, which is the part of the brain that controls movement, right? Things just go like this, Richie, or just go, boop, boop, boop. Yeah. There's a part of the brain that controls that. That is missing. Okay. They told me my son wouldn't walk. They told me he wouldn't talk. They said his hand would be clutched to his chest and he would probably walk. For me, if my son was alive and that was what I was given the chances, I'll take it. My son is alive. We beat the odds, Richie. When I brought in my son at 14 months, the doctor fell to the ground and started crying because of cannabis. And not only any CBD oil, the one that the mother created, that I ended up in Forbes magazine because of this. Not because I just went there, they reviewed the album and fell in love and they said, oh, God, that's the same guy. That's the CBD dad. Yeah. The first time I was in Forbes magazine, it wasn't because of reggae music. No, it was because of my son and this patent pending formulation that was created for my son called Messiah. Okay. And we've healed so much people. I mean, that's a whole nother show. That's
fantastic. I never knew this. I'm happy you told us
right
here. Yes, sir. How is your son doing now?
Yeah, he's incredible, man. This is him right here. When you talk about the miracles of life, this is him right here.
Oh, look at him.
And if I show you the picture, of
where he's coming from,
when he was in a coma and 25,000 tubes string up to him, no one would believe me. So
God is good.
Yes, man. Hallelujah.
Yeah, without a doubt. You're a nominee. By the way, is there going to be a ceremony for the Grammys, and will you be attending?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think it is a great opportunity for. I almost feel like it's a little disrespectful when an academy, an organization like the Recording Academy, recognizes our genre, our culture, and our music, and we don't show up to at least say thank you for recognizing. So for me, it is a duty and an ambassadorial duty that to go and represent our culture, our music, my government, my people, to say, hey, I'm from Jamaica, and my friend is Richie B, and this, and say, and sell Jamaica. So to catch an attitude or to feel like, okay, we need to be, because for many years, one of the biggest things I hear, we need to be on the main stage. Do you know what TV time costs? Do you know what Kodak and what Mercedes-Benz pay for a commercial during the Grammys? It's serious money. So for them to even recognize, I know the internet, now they're doing the pre-show Grammys, that it's not only reggae music, there's jazz, there's country, there's folk, hip-hop, there's kids, all kind of different genres don't get the main stage. So for them to recognize and now create a pre-show that is on the internet now, is sometimes streaming just as the amount of people that watch the real show, there's just the amount of people that watch it on the internet. So because of the internet, I think reggae is in a great place. And just to be there and represent and say, hey, man, I'm from Jamaica
Yeah.
and represent our genre as a beautiful team.
We are happy to hear you say that.
Yes.
And we really we have not had a very good, rich history of attendance at the Grammys,
Yes.
although we're calling for main stage exposure.
Right.
So the first thing we maybe want to do is to start
Well-
attending. The nominees ought to attend.
Right.
I get the feeling, though, that this year, it seems like a very competitive year. I have
Yes.
not even made up my
Yeah.
mind as to exactly what direction I'm going.
It's been
Gramps, you have a strong album, and so many others do.
Yes.
And what I like is that all of you as nominees are not just sitting on your quote-unquote laurels as nominees,
Right.
but you're out there, you're pushing, you're reminding people that I'm a nominee,
Yes.
and so on and so forth. And that is deliberate, isn't it?
Yeah, it's when you get nominated, that's what your management team is supposed to do.
Yeah.
They're supposed to campaign and make the awareness come about to that. Hey, this been, like I seen Spice, big up my girl Spice. I'm so proud of her.
Yeah.
One of the hardest working musician, not just only females. She outworked some of the guys in the business easily.
Yeah.
And she has her bread out that's behind her, showing her and mentoring her, which is Shaggy, which is one of my bridging them.
Yeah, I know that.
And I think it's a great place that the music is, because reggae and dancehall both come from Jamaica, but they do two different things. Like there's certain time in the club where people not going to want to hear a burning spear. They're going to want to hear a cartel tune, right? Because of the mood. It's like when you make love to your wife, there's a certain song I want to listen to, right? Right? Let's be frank.
Yeah.
When I go to church, there's a certain song I want to listen to. So music has moods and music has purpose. So what dancehall is able to do is to go right next to hip hop and stand up tour to tour. There may not be a Morgan Heritage song or a Burning Spear or a Tara song that can stand up there. So that's why as artists, I think we have to be multifaceted to be able to say, I'm an artist,
Yeah.
but I'm able to do any kind of music, but I'm a reggae artist or I'm a hip hop artist, whatever it is.
Yeah. It might be the most difficult question that I'm asking you this morning, but I have to ask, how do you rate your chances? And do you think that this album will take you to the winner's enclosure?
Well, anything's possible, right? Anything's possible. One of the things, when we was nominated as Morgan Heritage, there was no expectations. We were just happy to be there. And I would say 60-70% of the artists within the academy that get nominated has that same mentality. Because, boost up yourself and be let down. Disappointment is tough.
Yeah.
But I think there's a good chance. I think I created an album that is unique and represents Jamaica, represents our culture, our past, our history. When you listen to Runaway Bay, you remember people like Byron Lee and the Dragonaires and Toots and the Maytals, where that ska energy, that ska mental vibes, when you listen to that, and you listen to a song like Float Your Boat with Shaggy, where there's that little hint of mento and a little bit of some Hawaiian vibe. So I think it was beautifully blended. So I think it's an album that Jamaica can be proud of, to say, okay, this is a Jamaican artist. The other thing I want to celebrate, by the way, big up to the Consulate of Jamaica, because I have last year received my Jamaican passport.
Wow.
So I'm proud of that. I'm gonna clap me, man.
Yeah,
Clap me, man. Yeah. A lot of people, when they do, and of course we had our unconditional stamp. Big up to all of the workers in the passport office here in Jamaica. Yeah. Those are the people I want to celebrate. The people that make our life easier. In the driver's license, those are the people we got to celebrate. But when you take a stop, when you go to America and you get your man say, you get your papers, they celebrate that.
Yeah.
So me, I celebrate me get me Jamaican citizenship and passport, and it felt so good.
Yeah.
When I flew in yesterday, I'm checking with my Jamaican passport. I was like, yeah. And when me land, the immigration, big up to the immigration liars. Officer said to me, "Welcome home." That was like,
made a difference.
Because I come from all different parts of the world. I was in Kenya, I was in Malawi, and then I'm in Turks and Caicos. And then when you come home, there's no place like home. Yeah, man.
Gramps, it really has been a pleasure. It has been a pleasure talking with you, bro. Every time that I talk with Gramps, if my schedule says 10 minutes, we double that easily, and we could go on and on. And more than that, Gramps, you see, by the time you leave here, my phone lines are going to be flooded flooded with congratulatory words. People love to hear when you speak because there's a genuineness about your delivery, and it's always a pleasure. We want to wish you all the best. 2022 is here. No doubt you have some other things planned musically beyond the Grammy ceremony.
Yes.
And we know that you'll always keep us in tune with what's going on. Anything you want to hint at that you're working towards?
Yeah, I'll be getting back to my day job soon, which is Morgan Heritage.
Okay.
You know? So we're going to be releasing a new Morgan Heritage song called Headline for Front Page. With some of the young artists. I think this young kid named Joshy is on the record.
Oh, really? Okay.
Ritty Carl and Iactian. So that's a record that we're about to release. And just trying to prepare the youngsters, you know, because one of the things I noticed is that a lot of the new artists, at the first thing is like, man, I love woman again. It's like every new artist is like youngster. Do you realize that everybody where's the love? And that's what I love about Libra and the Rum Boss, and that's why I featured him on the album. And he's been doing this thing for a long time, and now he's a Grammy nominated featured artist.
Yeah.
He has that accolade, but it was my eye to really see that the fun, you know, you talk about Elephant Man that brings the fun and the joy and the dancing and a ding dong. I think that needs to be more prevalent in our music. It's the tough guy thing is killing us. It's like, be a tough guy when it's time to defend your family or your wife. But in the music,
just be cool.
Be cool, man, and go to church on Sunday.
Man. Yeah, man. Gramps Morgan, thank you so much, bro.
Thank
Great
you so
having you
much.
as always. I'm going to close out this segment with Positive Vibration, which is, by the way, the title track from his Grammy-nominated album. And we're going to be joining Irish Jam Radio out of New York City, covering the tri-state area, New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut like the sun. We understand that DJ Roy is off today, but we have the brother man, Fata Diamond. Good morning, Fata.
Good morning, Richie B. How you doing, boss?
I'm doing all right, man. How you doing?
All is blessed, man. All is blessed, as much as it's cold here in the tri-state area. And a little bit drizzly, rainy and stuff like that. But we're all right, same way, you know. We give God thanks, same way, you know.
Explain cold for me, Fata, because we're talking about now. Minus.
Well, we're not at the minus yet. Let's say about 25 to 30 degrees, around that right there. That's what we kind of been experiencing for the past 2 days or so.
So as a Jamaican in New York, when you talk about a 25 degrees, is that okay? Is that manageable?
I don't think that's manageable for nobody, whether they're in New York or not. Your brain freeze up, your body tense up, you just want to stay in bed, you know, and do nothing. You know what I mean? So I've been here for close to 30 years, so and I still can't get used to it.
Boy. Imagine our friends over there in places like Toronto right now, Fata Diamond, man.
Or even Edmonton and them places.
When they
ridiculous.
go 5 above, they're celebrating because they're in the minus quantities so often, you know what I mean?
Crazy.
It is.
You know?
But I want to make a suggestion to you this morning, Fata Diamond.
Sure.
I mean, we all need money, right?
Absolutely.
And we work hard for the money. But there's an easy way that you can get enough money to pay all your bills, to take care of all your family here and overseas and wherever. And that is just by buying one Powerball ticket. I understand it's 610 million, brother. This is the jackpot reach.
Listen, Richie, I'm trying to do my work. Do not have me daydreaming right now, okay? Please, may I try. Let me just finish out this hour with Irish Jam and the bridge, please. Because right now, me just start think what we done do, what we done there, you know?
Brother, me I stress out over it. That's why I try to pull you in.
Hey, we should get a pool going right now.
Yeah.
Man. We should get a pool, you know what I mean? Because I know Richie B got the American account. You know, you can just forward over a little $2,000 and we could just buy up a couple of numbers and see what we can do, you know?
Sound like you're shareholder at Wells Fargo, you know. Watch it, you know.
Hey.
All right, for those who do not know Fata Diamond, we have been on the roads. We have caught up with you several times, bringing a lot of vibes to different events. Just give us a quick synopsis so my listeners here can get an idea as to who Fata Diamond really is.
Well, I'm a Jamaican born. I've been here in the States for quite a while. I just love music. I've been playing music since high school. I'm actually 39 years old. I started on a couple of other radio stations. I traveled with Mr. Vegas as his road DJ. And now I'm here at Irish Jam.
Yeah.
Basically.
Big things are going on. And you have been rocking audiences for a long time. We have seen you in action, and you know now, Alberta. Let's put it that way.
Yeah,
man, good to have you.
Master on Up and Go, The Bridge, 99 FM.